What's going on, YouTube? I am God as my source, aka Gems. And you might be thinking to yourself, I probably wouldn't pronounce a G like that in that situation. My response is, I'm a grown man, I do what I want. And we about to get into something a little different today. So, the last video we listened to, it was Tony Tillman's Ghost. Well, as I was going to find the next song to listen to from Tony Tillman, I came across this video, which is him talking about the story behind Ghost. And so, because I just happened to have mentioned in the last video how I didn't know if it was a true story, I assumed it was, because I assume that with Christian artists, that they're telling the truth. So I saw the video where he's telling the story behind it, so I was interested. I wanted to know if this truly was something that he experienced himself, or whether, it was based on a story that maybe a fan told him, or something he knew about. I just wanted to know the story behind it. So that's the video we're going to watch here. Tony Tillman explaining the story behind Ghost. Let's go.
Probably 6 months after I became a Christian, I ended up at a church that had some like had my cousin Tyrone he used to be a Crip, but he became a Christian. And then D West.
Wow. So I'm already impressed because the names that he mentioned in the song, I thought that there was a possibility that he changed the names up in the song, like to make stuff rhyme, or maybe even to just protect identities. Maybe he changed the names in the song, but apparently he didn't, because he said his cousin Tyrone, Donovan West, D West. He just said that. So the other, I don't know. Well, I wonder if he's gonna say Don and Tina, because there was actually a murder that took place. Maybe he's gonna protect their true identities, but we're about to find out. I was just impressed that he used the actual names, to, and in that influence, that's gonna influence your rhyme schemes and all of that, because you gotta make stuff. You still gotta tell the story, still gotta make the names work, still gotta make the rhymes work.
And then Dunn, they all went to the same church, so I ended up joining the church because I felt like I related to them, you know what I'm saying? So, but Dunn was a few years older than us, he was married to Tina. I think I was probably the only one wasn't married. But we just did community. We didn't even call it community, you know what I'm saying? We just did it because we liked each other, it was cool. Everybody who was around our age at the time, young, would meet at their house and just kick it. We started rapping. When we started rapping, started kind of picking up steam locally, you know what I'm saying? Started doing stuff at local churches, as it, we started kind of gaining a little buzz in the city, you know what I'm saying? Dunn just kind of started falling back more and more. So it got to the point where, he wasn't available for recording, we weren't really kicking it.
Wow. So, like, he really, like, it's really happening the way that he said it in the song. Like, it's really following, like, the same road. Because to this point, he ain't add nothing extra. So, wow. It just makes the storytelling more impressive, so that when you, excuse me, when you are actually telling the story, just telling it just naturally, when you aren't trying to make things rhyme, you're just actually telling the story, it still sounds exactly like when you were telling the story through song. That's crazy. That's impressive. Like, I hope y'all understand. I hope y'all can see just how impressive that is. Because you are under certain constraints when you're trying to make a song. You're not just telling a story, you're telling a story and trying to make it entertaining using rhyme. That is impressive. The story still sounds the same. And the rhymes were good. Like, the song is good. So this is impressive to me.
House like that no more. And then if we went over to his house, it would just be his wife there and his kids, and then he would be somewhere, gone. He stopped. He wasn't showing up at church and stuff like that. Our mentality was, accountability. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, it's like I gotta go see what's up, and see how he's doing. So I went over to his house. When I went over to his house,
I just realized he said they had kids too, because that he didn't mention in the song. So wow, that's crazy. Man.
We sat down, and so I went over there, and as soon as I get there, I knock on the door, and Tina comes to the door, and she's like, you need to talk to your boy, and I'm like, for what? It's like, I ain't, marital stuff, like, I wasn't prepared for that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, for what? And she was like, you just...
Okay, because I'm noticing the edits, I hope there's not, like, more to the story, like, little things that they're cutting out, because, I mean, everything he's saying, this just lines up completely with the song, but, it'd be cool, like, to hear, like, the other little details that maybe he didn't mention, like, they left in, when he's talking about the fact that, they would go over there, and Don wouldn't be there, but it would be Tina with the kids, because the kids weren't mentioned. So and that little tidbit wasn't mentioned. Like, they go to his house, they're at his house, and he ain't there. You know what I mean? And so he was really separating himself that much from the rest of them. So that little tidbit wasn't there. So that's cool. But there's like a lot of edits in there. So I'm just wondering what we're missing.
I told him, you ask him, So I was like, all right, So she went in the room, got him. He came out, and when he sat down, dapped him up, and it was like, yo, what's up, man? I ain't seen you in a minute, just trying to check on you. Oh, man, I just been working, da, da, da. So then I switched the conversation, like, hey, Tina told me to, holler at you, man, y'all all right? And, his reaction was like, yeah, I mean, we good. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess it is nothing,
Oh, that's funny. It was like, my reaction is, oh, I guess it is good. That's so funny, man. Because, okay, it's funny because it can't be, right? Because the wife already was like, giving fake smiles and was like, you need to go talk to him. He tripping type. She's already like that, right? And then you go to him, he's like, hey, your wife said, might be some problems or something. Everything all right? And he's like, nah, we good. He's like, oh, I guess they are good. like just because he said it, that just changed everything. Like, did you see his face? Let me take it back a little bit. Because did you see his face? He's like, oh, I guess they are fine. That's just funny to me. I don't know.
Just trying to check on you. Oh, man, I just been working, da, da, da. So then I switched the conversation, like, hey, Tina told me to, holler at you, man, y'all all right? And, his reaction was like, yeah, I mean, we good. So I'm like, oh, okay, I guess it is nothing.
Oh, I guess they are good. He said it. If he doesn't matter that she was saying the opposite, right? Oh man, I don't know. I mean, it's not a funny situation, of course, because it's a true story. But his reaction, that was hilarious to me.
And I started talking about music. Dapped him up, left. Like, literally, either the next day or the day after, somebody stopped me and was like, man, I heard your homeboy killed his wife last night. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I get in the car, I leave, somebody flags me down, and then this person was somebody I knew, you know what I'm saying? And they was like, man, yeah, you heard word, bro? And I'm like, man, what? And so he's like, man, I heard, oh, what? Man, one of your partners killed his wife last night, and I'm like, dude, get out of here with that. And he's like, nah, man, I heard it was Dunn, bro. I heard Dunn killed Tina last night. And, and I'm like, and I called him, he didn't pick up, so went over to his house. I went to his house, saw the yellow tape outside his house, and it still didn't dawn on me I was like, dang, he must really beat her up bad, And then I called my cousin, like, hey, bro, like,
wait. He said he saw yellow tape and was like, he must have beat her up bad after somebody already told him that he killed her. Like, man, like, you got to be in some real denial to be seeing things in that type of a light at that point. You know what I mean?
I went to his house, saw the yellow tape outside his house, and it still didn't dawn on me I was like, dang, he must really beat her up bad, And then I called my cousin, like, hey, bro, like, did Dunn jump on Tina or something? And, he was like, man, like, Tina's gone, bro. And I'm like, gone? Like, gone? He's like, she's dead, you know. And I'm like, he started explaining, because he was with her family, and he started explaining what they had told him. So like that, he was on the run for a few days. You know, the police was looking for him and all that. And but then he ended up turning himself in and talked to him, and he was like, you know, like his concern was, does this mean I'm not a Christian no more? You know, it's like, this is me, I'm not a Christian now, you know, stuff. And he just you know, shared the gospel with him again. You know what I'm saying? Told him, just let him know, man, you got a long road ahead of you. Like, they gave him like 30 something years. Arkansas, that's, you know, you're talking at least 75% at the door of your time before you even eligible for parole.
All right, man. So, wow. I just thought it was cool to hear the story behind it. I mean, it was pretty much exactly like how he told it in the song. So that's cool, and it makes the song more impressive. But it's just cool to kind of get the behind the scenes. Like, man, they gave that dude 30 years. I would imagine. I mean, it was only 30 years they gave him, though, because I mean, you murder somebody. Ain't that a life sentence? Automatic off rip. You kill somebody, you don't get life for that. No. Um. Wow. So like, just man. Uh, it's tragic. I don't really have much more to say on that. I mean, it was just a messed up situation. But I just thought it was cool to hear the story of him actually telling it, because I mean, I assumed that the story was true, but obviously I didn't know. Let me know your thoughts, feelings in the comment section. Hit the like button if you so choose. Subscribe for more. Dropping content every day. And I stopped saying this, but I used to say it, you know, back in my older videos. I'm here to react to any Christian content, anything. So you know, I just did this little interview type setting here where I think it was with Rapzilla, you know, where you know he's just telling the story behind Ghost. I just thought it was a cool thing. So any Christian content, I'm here for it. Hit the noty bell so you don't miss out. All right, guys, be blessed.